All right, everybody. Here we are. I'm excited to be here today, Wednesday. Today is July 23rd, 2025, with our friend Christopher Tempel, El Director. And Christopher, I know that sometimes things go bad on movie sets, and just as I came on, both my lights went out, so I went a little bit dark.
Par for the course.
Yes, so maybe I'll get some light later. My friend, welcome back. How you been?
Been doing great. Thanks for having me back.
Folks, we got a lot to talk about, and listen, I've been watching the work of Christopher Temple, and he is the next Robert Rodriguez. My friend, this is many years now. You've been doing indie films, and you have just, last time we were doing a show, given us some updates on your new film that was getting ready to release on Amazon. Why don't we start there? Tell us about your newest release.
Yeah, it is out now on Amazon and Tubi, actually. So you do get better quality if you rent through Amazon, but if you don't want to pay to rent it, you can watch it for free on Tubi. It's just ad supported, which has been great. And the response overwhelmingly has been pretty positive to it, which is nice.
That is fantastic. Now, I have seen a copy of it, and I've also bought a copy for my collection of the Blu-ray,
Yep.
which it's also been produced on. And again, for those that are just joining us, welcome aboard. Chris, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Just turned 40. Been dealing with that whole thing. But no, I live in beautiful Northwest Montana with my wife and my pit bull dog, and we enjoy a lot of backpacking and stuff like that. I'm a third degree black belt in American Kempo karate. I do parkour. I'm a licensed skydiver. Just kind of always had a need for adventure, I guess. And of course, I make movies, and I run a production company called Pyro Studios.
Pyro Studios. It's amazing. Where are you headquartered out of?
Big Fork, Montana.
Montana. Brother, I hear that's beautiful country.
Oh, it's nice. Yeah, I live about 30 minutes from Glacier National Park.
I may have driven through a little stretch of it going from east to west coast, but I've never been able to enjoy a vacation there yet. But I'm planning to go there someday and check it out because I hear it's beautiful. Um, well, I just want to tell you, I saw your most recent movie and it's awesome. And in fact, I love all of your movies. I told my mother just 2 days ago, I said, hey, Mom, I'm bringing on a friend. His name is Christopher Temple. And I want you to see his first two films that he's got up on YouTube. And so I got to double back with her and make sure she watched them. But that's where I found out about you.
Yep.
I'd come across the first two films you did. For some history, what were the names of the first two that you did?
The first ones that you would have seen would have been Leap and then Leap: A Tale of the Last Days. Originally, I wanted to tell the entire story from like modern day to the second coming of Jesus, and I realized I just didn't have the skills or abilities to do that as a 23-year-old independent filmmaker. And so I kind of broke it into three parts. I said, well, we'll focus on the beginning of the last days, and that's the first Leap film. We've got a college kid that becomes converted through the teaching his friends parkour. And then the second one was going to be about the rise of the beast power and the mark of the beast kind of coming in. And then I had a third one initially that was designed to take us from where that movie ended all the way to the end. And I looked back on the script 10 years later because I hadn't gotten it made. And I'm like, this is just too plucky. I got these kids taking on the forces of evil and stuff. And my cast had all moved on to other and better things. And so I decided to write a more grounded and realistic, from my point of view, film about the last days and take us from modern day to the second coming because now I knew I could do it.
Well, I understand your reasoning there. However, I just want to tell you, man, I love the first two as well. And yeah, you left me with a cliffhanger in that second one. They'd made it up into the mountains and
Yep.
uh, they were trying to plan their next move. And then I said, man, this is a great movie. I need part three. Also, I got introduced through your films to the martial arts of parkour.
Mm-hmm.
Describe parkour for someone who hasn't seen it.
Parkour is those crazy guys running, jumping, flipping, climbing, doing all sorts of crazy Spider-Man looking stuff through the natural or urban environment. It literally is guided by a mindset of escape and reach. Like, I need to get there, or I'm being chased by a guy, I need to get away from him. And it's designed to
Yes.
do it in the most effective way possible or efficient way possible.
And I think you've done some demonstrations where, like, just scaling a wall based on your foot position and, some certain moves you do, you can actually climb a wall that otherwise might look like insurmountable. Is that true?
Oh yeah, I'm 5'5" and I can make it up a 12-foot wall, no problem.
Dude, you're 5'5"?
I am.
Oh, I don't feel alone. I'm 5'5".
There we go.
Um, Praise the Lord. We're excited to be here with Christopher Temple. And yeah, that martial art or parkour is really cool. And do you still practice it today?
Not as much as I would like. Living in Montana now, there's not a whole lot of stuff I can do. So I've switched back more to the Kempo side, American Kempo. But I still
Oh,
train the basics of parkour every now and then. I've learned that if I can keep up with the rolls and jumps and stuff like that, just jumping up and down on top of a 3 foot wooden box, that's really all I need to be able to do.
well, we're going to talk about films, of course. But when you mentioned Kempo, I just got to throw this bonus question in. Um, when I was younger, I started taking some American karate classes, and I was checking out the different styles. And I'd heard about Kempo and saw a movie way back when with a guy named Jeff Speakman.
Yep,
He made Kempo famous, and then of course Ed Parker, right?
correct. Yeah. And Ed Parker really blew up karate in the U.S. anyway. We wouldn't have all the karate schools around today if it wasn't for Mr. Ed Parker.
Yeah, Ed Parker. He got to work with guys like even Elvis. I think he trained a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, there's some pictures of him with Elvis and probably some of the other great masters out there. Bruce Lee, I think he knew. And
He gave Bruce Lee his start.
oh, really?
Yep.
Tell me about that. What do you know about it?
They had met at a small tournament, I believe, or no, I'm sorry, they had met off somewhere in LA, and one of Mr. Parker's friends said, "Hey, you got to meet this guy. I know his name is Bruce Lee." And so they ended up hooking up, and he was amazed by Bruce Lee's skill and put him into his first tournament, which was the internationals down in I think Long Beach, and that's where Bruce Lee demonstrated his 0 inch punch and stuff like that, and that put him on the map, and then got him the attention of Hollywood, and that's how his career took off. And they remained
That's
friends
wild.
until their death. Yeah.
I used to be like a Bruce Lee um, fanatic. I love Bruce Lee and the movies. And back in the, I would say, when was this? This was probably 90. Well, it's been a long time ago, but 94.
Hmm.
I set out, Christopher, I wanted to go to Los Angeles and learn Jeet Kune Do,
Okay.
which was Bruce Lee's martial art. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I figured, well, the best place to go is Dan Inosanto's academy, which is one of three guys that was that Bruce passed the torch to before he died.
Mhm.
And he had a martial arts school out near Westchester, Los Angeles, LAX airport. So I made my trip out there. Make a long story short, I arrived at this dojo, and as soon as I walked in, they had a picture of Bruce Lee there with Dan Inosanto on the wall. I said, I found the right place. And I walked in, and man, they had like a mini boxing ring. They had Mook Jong dummies. They had all kinds of styles there that they trained in.
That's
But
cool.
you could take, Thai kickboxing. You could do Kali and Eskrima.
Hmm.
But the Bruce Lee purists would go in there and take it's called Junfan Gung Fu, which is
Okay. Yeah.
Bruce Lee's first style. And then later it morphed into his own style system called Jeet Kune Do.
Yep.
And just a funny story. I walk in there and I see this massive, massive punching bag. Like you take a regular punching bag times five. It was huge. And I just went up there and decided I was going to try one of these 1 inch punches, 2 inch punches like this.
Hmm.
I didn't know how to do it, but all of a sudden the instructor there, his name was Rod Balicki. His eyes got really wide as saucers. He looked like he was about to faint. And he pointed at this little sign that said, Bruce Lee's punching bag, do not punch. Thankfully, he didn't punch me.
Yeah.
But anyway, I interviewed with him to see if I could take lessons. He said, yeah, come on in and you could take lessons. So I was all ready to go. And then all I needed was a job, and I couldn't find a job. So I had to go back home to the East Coast. And that
Oh.
ended my martial arts career.
Yeah.
But at any rate, when I hear a fellow martial artist out there talk about it, I have to ask some questions.
Sure.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, so what is your backstory? How did you actually get into filmmaking?
I saw my first movie in theaters when I was 3 years old. It was Oliver and Company, and my mom took me to go see it. And I still remember we had a small TV in the house, and so I knew what cartoons were. But this was the first time getting to experience the story larger than life on a big screen with other kids my own age at the same time. And I just fell in love with it. And I asked my mom if I could do something like that. And so she taught me, my mom was an art major, and she taught me how to make flip books. And so I did that until I was about 10 years old, just constant flip books all the time. The corners of my textbooks at school were always filled with little stick figure action movies and stuff like that. And then when I was 10, my parents gave me the old VHS camcorder, big one you had to carry on your shoulder. And that's when my live action stuff took off. Did that, made like 40 short films just running around my backyard and chasing my siblings around. And then in high school, took a digital video production class. And that's when I got exposed to editing because I couldn't edit up until this point, and shooting digitally on a mini DV tape. And that's really where I cut my teeth. And we had a weekly news show, and every time I was given something to direct, like a anti-fighting public service announcement, I would turn it into a little mini short film. And I really enjoyed filmmaking. That's where I would say, started with the filmmaking. So I knew by the time I graduated, that's what I wanted to do. I shot a short film to graduate for my senior project called Ninja Nerd, because people either knew me for my martial arts background or as the crazy video production kid. And so I wanted to show that you could be both at the same time. So this movie was about that. And then took off from there, made another 40 short films, did my first feature, which was a slasher, did the first two Leap movies, started and almost finished a movie about my time being homeless. And then now I'm back at it, finishing off the Leap series now and moving on to other stuff.
That's amazing. Now, give me a time frame for this. When you started making these movies, what are we talking about? The 90s, early 2000s, mid 2000s? When was this?
I was in high school. I graduated 2003, and it was
Okay.
2001 when I took my first class. Yeah.
Reason I asked is I know that a major part of making movies is going to be the editing. And
Hmm.
so I imagine that editing software has come a long way. I remember, I think the name of it was, years ago they used to have a program called Video Toaster.
Hmm.
Apparently that was one of the ones that hit the market that allowed indie filmmakers to do stuff that only Hollywood could do. Is that true?
Yeah, the video toaster had a 3D application bundled with it called Lightwave, and it was used on stuff like Titanic and things like that. So it was used
Cool.
by Hollywood, but it was also achievable and attainable for the everyday guy too.
And I'd heard other names. I don't remember them all right now, but um, let's see, Cube, and I think there was, my goodness, what was it? Avid, and there's been all these programs over the years, but have you
Avid's number
seen?
one. Yeah,
Is it still number one?
it
Yeah.
is. That's what's used in Hollywood is Avid Media Composer.
Wow. So I had a friend. His name was Anthony J. Hilder, and
Okay.
he claims to have done 10,000 interviews,
Wow.
including some of the original work on the Illuminati. He did a
Okay.
series of records way back then called the Illuminati tapes and or records, and he worked in Hollywood, and he started to make some indie films, documentaries exposing the New World Order. Uh, Bush 911 connection. I can't think of all the
Mhm.
names right now, but if you look up the guy's name, Anthony J. Hilder, you may recognize some of his stuff out there tuning in. And I remember I was out in Torrance, California in 2003, and Anthony was working on a new documentary film. And back then, I think he was still using DV cam,
Mhm.
DV cam, and so he would shoot the footage, go around on this, this big camcorder, and then it would come time to edit it. And I said, "What do you do?" And he said, "Well, really what you need to do is you need to buy a specialized desktop that's got, all the hardware and the video cards and the memory and the hard drives." And I said, "What's that cost you?" He said, "Well, it cost me about 12 to 15 grand."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Whoa." And then he said, "That's just the starters. Then you need software." Unless I think he said you get one of the Macs. Um, and what was their version of video editing software? What was
Max
it
had
called?
two. There was Final Cut Pro originally,
Yeah,
which was
that's
spun
it.
off from the guys that did Adobe. if I remember
Yes.
correctly. It might be the other way around. And then now they have iMovie as well too. It's kind of their entry level
Final Cut.
program.
That's what he was telling me about. Yeah.
Final Cut, yeah.
I'm just trying to reconcile some of my history of filmmaking, and I'm trying to learn. Listen, on my bucket list, bro, I want to do a movie, and I know who I'm coming to when I get my war chest to do it. I'm coming to help
Totally should do
director
it.
Christopher Tempel. But um, you have been doing this for a long time, and so have you started with certain software and progressed? What do you do today when you're editing your films? What do you like to use?
Today I use DaVinci Resolve. I've
Okay.
used almost everything out there. I've used Final Cut in the past. I taught iMovie to some kids at the local college. I've used Adobe Premiere. I've used Sony Vegas back when it was Sony Vegas. I've used it all. And
Oh,
I was actually going to cut this last movie on the Avid because I love Avid. I love the way it makes me think about editing. It really is designed for the craft of editing, and it keeps things in sync as you're moving stuff around. But I was having
right.
some issues just out of the blue where I couldn't conform because you have to move it from Avid to DaVinci to finish your movie anyway to do all the color grading and stuff. And
Yes.
that process wasn't working the way it used to work. And so I said, well, I just built this new computer from scratch. It should be powerful enough. I'll just try to edit the whole thing in DaVinci. So I moved in all my Avid keyboard shortcuts. I've got the colored keyboard with all the different colored buttons on it and stuff.
Oh, wow.
And so I cut in DaVinci now, DaVinci Resolve, and it's great. It's editing, it's color, it's got its own sound application built in, and it does visual effects too.
So DaVinci Resolve for that, and then for special effects, do you use another program
I
called?
do.
Is it
I'll
called
either use
Volcano? What is it
you're
called?
close.
Oh,
It's called Nuke.
oh, Nuke. Okay.
Yeah. And then Fusion is the effects program built into DaVinci, and they're very similar. They're both node based. They don't use layers. You're connecting chains of data flow. So you take an image, you blur the image, you color the image, and then you take another image and you maybe transform it around and do something to it, and then you merge them down together with another node. So you're building these chains.
We want to say hello to Dave in Canada. Folks, we're live with director and film producer Christopher Temple. He does it all. He writes scripts. Um, I don't think a person would be able to pull this off if they didn't have the talent you have on multiple levels. I mean, because you've got multiple components that got to come together, right? You got to have your script.
Yep.
You got to be able to film it,
And
direct it,
schedule it.
produce it, schedule it. Oh, I forgot about that one. Edit
That,
it.
that's part. Yeah, you're right. Scheduling is huge, and I'm actually writing my own scheduling software now because I don't like what I see out there, and nobody's done it the way I want it done yet. So I'm doing it myself with AI tools.
Amazing. Now, Christopher, if someone wanted to learn more about this, do you offer any type of online school or training? You doing any videos?
I have a YouTube channel, just youtube.com/Chris Temple. And mostly I teach the Fusion page of DaVinci. So teaching the special effects side. And our motto is Hollywood effects without a Hollywood budget because DaVinci you can actually get for free.
Oh, fantastic. Really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. What is your YouTube channel? Where do they find you?
youtube.com/Chris Temple.
Okay, Chris Temple. Okay, and we'll get that information out again later. We're just working up to current right now. I want to get a little bit of backstory on Chris, and so you've been doing a great job. I've seen some of the trailers you've done and promos, man. Your skills have just went through the roof. It's amazing what I'm seeing you're doing, especially in the area of special effects. So, your most recent film again.
Mhm.
What is the name of that?
It's called Leap: A Tale of the Last
Oh,
Days.
yes. Hold that there for a second, folks. Check this out. He's got it available on Blu-ray DVD. You can stream it right now on Amazon. That's the fastest way to get it. And I love this. So this just became available on Amazon. Is that correct?
Amazon and Tubi. Yes.
Wow. And Tubi. I'm
Yeah.
not familiar with that. I got to get up speed.
Yeah. It's Tubi's a like YouTube just for movies, and so you can
Oh,
stream movies on there. And the only difference is that they're commercial supported. So I watched mine on Tubi the other day just to see what it looked like, and there was about 3 or 4 commercial breaks, and each break is only about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, so not too bad.
now have you went over to any of the pirate sites to see if they pirated yours and got it in Russia right now?
Yeah, actually, it is in Russia. There's a Russian version of YouTube, and I just looked this up last week. and there's my movie on there, and it's got like 48 views, and they used AI to dub all the voices into Russian.
Dude,
So
that's a
it's
compliment.
pretty funny. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I came across this thing called OK.ru. I'm not
Hmm.
saying go there, but it's amazing. Okay, I like to support movies, and I'll if I don't go see them, I'll rent them, I'll buy them. But there are some stuff I just can't find, and so
Correct.
and so I will look at some alternate locations. Um, in fact, for some reason, even some movies I can't even find at all unless you want to get an old VHS copy. For example, there's a ninja movie uh, with Christopher Lambert, the guy from Highlander, and it was called The Hunted.
Okay.
And it was produced in the late 90s. It's a great movie. And I went to stream it, couldn't find it. It's not on Amazon, not on iTunes. I couldn't find it anywhere unless you want to get an old copy.
Hmm.
And I'm like, why are some films, Christopher, do you think are in circulation? And there seem to be some that they just pull.
I think it has to do with the distributors more than anything. If the film,
Okay.
because back then you would sell your movie to a distributor, they would buy it outright from you. Maybe if
Okay.
you were lucky, you would get residuals, but most time they bought it from you. Well, let's say you have a video company that's doing this and delivering stuff to home video, and then they collapse and go under, and nobody buys their catalog of films. Then those films are essentially lost to time at that point.
Oh, okay. Now that's probably what has happened. Well, they need to get that one fixed because that's a great movie. So you just wrapped up on this, and my guess is any filmmaker, as yourself, is always got one they're working on and maybe a couple in the shoot,
Yeah.
and so in the hopper, if you will. So, uh, what are you working on now? Tell us about a new project you're doing.
I've got a one that I'm actively working on the script for, and that is a supernatural thriller involving Ouija boards and the dangers of that. And it's based on a true
Wow.
story of a woman that I know. And then I would also
Yes.
like to do a new Kempo movie. There hasn't been a good one since The Perfect Weapon back in the early 90s, like you were talking about with Jeff Speakman. And I would love to see some sort of action flick like that come out again and showcase Kempo for what it is and pit it up against
Bro,
some MMA guys and stuff like that. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
bro, listen. You know, I'm a movie aficionado, especially martial arts movies from the 80s and the 90s. There were so many great movies being made,
Yeah.
and it's not. It's like there's not much anymore that I'm seeing. It used to be Chuck Norris, Jeff Speakman, Steven Seagal, Jean Claude Van Damme. Those
Yep.
guys are getting a bit old, though. Especially Chuck. I got to meet him one time, by the way.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, they were. He was doing a premiere of his movie, The Sidekicks,
Oh, yeah, I remember
Sidekick,
that one. Yeah, yeah.
and to promote it, he would go around the country and he would go to the theaters, and you could get in line and get his autograph, and then he might open up and give an intro to the audience here, something kind of special to attract people. And I heard he was coming to Northern Virginia, Springfield Mall, Virginia. I went up there and I got in this long line, got up there, and I was carrying a book that he had written called The Secret of My Inner Strength. And I
Okay.
thought, I want to get him to autograph it. Well, what I didn't know is there was some local martial arts school that was, had kind of partnered with him to promote him, and they were giving everybody a flyer, come out and take some lessons at our school. And they didn't want you to give them any other thing but this flyer, to autograph. So, I mean, I was like, I didn't come here to get, put your autograph on your school promo. So I set my book out, and the guy looked at me, but Chuck took it, and then I froze, man. I couldn't even speak.
Hmm.
I was with somebody and I said, Mr. Norris, it's nice to meet you. I held my hand out. Dude, he shook my hand and gave me a cold fish handshake. I'm not joking, cold fish. But he could have broke my hand. He was probably didn't want to break my hand.
Sure.
Anyway, I just remember that. And I wanted to tell him about my favorite movie, Good Guys Wear Black.
Hmm.
And I said, I love your movies. My favorite movie is, and then my brain froze. I couldn't even think.
Oops.
I was like, my favorite movie is Up. And then finally it came out, Good Guys Wear Black. And he was super nice, super nice. At that time, he was dating what would be later his wife that he's got now.
Oh, cool.
And I took some pictures, and I think my flash went off in his eyes, and he looked up at me, and he wasn't too happy with it. So I got some pictures. But I met that dude, and Chuck Norris is one of my favorites, and grew up watching those kind of movies.
Hmm.
What's it called? The Mission Missing in Action. But
Hmm.
I haven't seen any great martial arts movies in years. Have you? Can you
The
remember
last
any?
I would say would be the 2000s. You had Ong Bak Thai Warrior, that was pretty
Yeah,
good. There were
yeah.
some parkour films like District 13 and The Great Challenge. I have not seen anything since those.
So I say that to say this. I love what you're gonna do. Man, it's time to bring those movies back. I'm excited. Uh, Now you're gonna do. I've seen actually a promo for the one on the girl with the Ouija board.
Hmm.
Those special effects are cool.
Thanks.
This is gonna be a good movie. Now, where are you at with that? Have you got the script completed?
I have a old version of the script from 15 years ago that's done,
Okay.
and I'm rewriting the whole thing from scratch. I'm about 40 pages into it right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's the next step for that? When do you think you'll go into production on it?
Well, I haven't decided if I'm doing that one or the martial arts film yet, so I don't know. But I would
Oh,
hope to be shooting something next summer, and then probably a year and a half, 2 year release beyond that for whatever comes out.
well, dude, do them both. Whatever order you're gonna
That's a
do them
lot
in, that's
even for
fine.
me.
But you got to do them both, man. Those will both be great movies. We're here with Christopher Temple. He's a indie filmmaker. He has just released a Hollywood quality movie that's available right now on Amazon. And give the title again: it
Leap, A Tale of the Last Days.
Lee Patel: The Last Days. Right there. You can also order the Blu-ray. Um, so you produce this film, and I want to talk about a few things here. You ran into an atheist reviewer. Is that correct? Tell
It's
me
an
the story.
atheist podcast. Yeah. So with my last two movies, they've been out on YouTube for a while now. And I randomly would search on YouTube to see if anyone had pirated and re-uploaded copies of my film, which I ran into from time to time. So I type in, Leap. And then I was curious one day, I said, I wonder if anyone's reviewed my movie. So I typed Leap review. This is about 7 or 8 years ago. And I came across a podcast on YouTube called God Awful Movies. GAM is what they call themselves. And they are an atheist, I believe, review site, and they just totally like to tear and slash up Christian films and make fun of them. And they had done my first Sleep movie, and I listened to it. I'm mildly amused. I mean, you can't be on YouTube if you don't have a sense of humor about yourself and stuff. And I said, hey, you guys should check out my newest one. It's even better. And that was Leap Rise of the Beast. And so I sent them the link to that, and they reviewed that one, and it became their biggest show of all time, apparently. So years go by, and everyone keeps. They would come and watch it. I probably have 20,000 views of my movie just from these guys, which is kind of cool. And I would engage with them politely, and I wouldn't block their comments unless there was extreme profanity in the comments. Otherwise, I let them have free discussion. And I had one of them actually tell me, he said, there is a million ways for a Christian to lose the attention of a non Christian. But you let us come here and mock your film. You take it with good spirits. You, sir, have my attention. And I was like, whoa, okay. There, you can kind of still reach to them, and they're at least willing to hear what you have to say that way. So a couple of years go by, and they've been watching and following the progress of the new film. And lately, they had started commenting on my trailer. Hey, can't wait for GAM to get to this and stuff. Well, it finally happened this weekend. Apparently, they had a live recording of their podcast in Cleveland, Ohio, and they had a sold out audience of like 300 people, and my movie was the star piece for the whole thing. And so I listened to it yesterday, and it was actually pretty funny. I'm amused when I listen to it because I know that they're not believers, so I expect them to be having some nitpicks and stuff like that. But the coolest thing for me this time around is I knew that technically I did this movie just about the best that anybody could have done with it working by themselves. I thought they're not going to have any problem technically with the film. It's going to be the theology. And sure enough, it was the theology and the story that they were poking fun with. Very little was actually done to poke fun at the technical quality of the film. So that was cool.
That's really wild.
Yeah.
I tell you what would be a coup is those people come to Jesus.
Yeah.
as a result of a Christian loving them and looking beyond their faults and seeing their needs. You know, and if we're rude to them, as some can be, throw them under the bus, we'll never win anybody.
No.
Uh, never at all. And I have to remember that sometimes because I tend to engage some people, and we got to be wise in how we deal with the world who may not agree exactly with us, but hey,
Yep.
Jesus, he was on a mission to win souls, to save
Amen.
that which was lost.
Yep.
And how are we going to win anybody if we don't love them? Um, that's exciting, man, and pretty cool that through their program, they've been bringing in a lot of people to find out about your movie.
Yeah,
Um,
and I know they make fun of it, but here's the thing: I can either get all upset about it and mad that they're ripping my movie to shreds, which is apparently what
yes,
most of the other guys have done. Like they get mad at them for doing this. I'm thinking, I made the choice to put the movie out there. What people think of it is up to them. That's not on me. And
right.
so I thought, why not try to engage with them and have a little bit of dialogue, a little bit. There were some errors in their podcast about the production of the film, and so I found their Reddit page, and I've been answering questions for the last 24 hours. I said, hey, I'm the director of the film here. What can I clear up for you guys? And been just engaging on that level with stuff. And again, same thing. A guy said, you seem good humored and good natured. Thanks for being a good sport with this. Most other people would be very upset and cursing us out for doing this. So thank you. I was like, yeah, sure.
Man, you're being an ambassador for Christ in film,
Yeah.
no less, which is pretty cool. We're live with Christopher Temple, um, Pyro Studios. Now, Christopher, this seems to be the age of the podcast. I've been podcasting since about 2010.
Hmm.
I know some people have been doing it since like the year 2000. I call them the OGs. I mean, they've been doing it almost 25 years, but I have seen this phenomena of new podcast and like never before. And I understand someone said there's 5.5 million podcasts out there. I'm
Whoa.
running into everybody uh, that's doing podcasts now. Even Hollywood actors. Rob Lowe has got a podcast.
Yeah.
Stephen Baldwin of the Baldwin Brothers has a podcast.
Yep.
Michelle
Jillian
Phillips of
Michaels.
the Jillian Michaels.
Yeah, she's
Oh
go.
man, and I think it's pretty amazing what you can now do with podcasts. Now, tell me about the podcast you're starting and have launched.
Yeah, I've got one now too. I figured I might as well jump on the bandwagon. And so
Yes.
mine is called Indie Rebel, the podcast for independent filmmakers. Indie Rebel is kind of the brand name I'm using these days for stuff. So my YouTube channel is Indie Rebel is the type of content. Oh, sorry, just had a log tree fall down in the yard here.
Oh my goodness.
And then I have a book I wrote on independent filmmaking. Same thing. It's called Indie Rebel. And so I thought, well, I'll keep that same brand going. And so I basically went through. I said, here's my history, how I made my first feature film back in 2007. I did one on my
Yes.
most recent film. And then now I'm just kind of going through, and each week we focus on a different aspect of filmmaking. So we've covered story development, script writing, scheduling, budgeting. My next one coming out is about how to choose a camera and how to get good images with the camera. I've got an
Oh,
interview with my wife. We call it a filmmaker's wife, and it's like, what's it like being married to a filmmaker, and what's your point of view with
right,
that and stuff. And yeah, so
right.
yeah, it's called Indie Rebel.
Um, do I have it spelled right on the screen? Indie Rebel
Yep.
podcast. Now, what platforms can they go to tune in? And is it audio or video and audio? On YouTube, for example, with the Indie
It is on
podcast.
YouTube, but audio only on YouTube. So it's actually
Okay,
a YouTube style podcast. It's also on Apple and Spotify.
okay. What is your what's your main platform for uploading all your archives to?
I
What do
upload
you
to
upload it?
Spotify, and then the
Spotify.
RSS kicks it out to the rest.
Oh, okay. So Spotify is the mother hub. Okay. Um, that's good because you can take that RSS feed and you can send it out to about a dozen platforms that can pick it up.
Yep.
Are you on iTunes? Did you mention?
Apple Podcasts.
Okay, Apple Podcasts. Okay. Get on Amazon also. They've
Okay.
started a podcast section. Amazon's good. Um, Apple. There's about a dozen. I'll see if I can send you a list. But you got an RSS feed. Get them submitted to them all. But are you going to do a? Oh, you know what you could do if you want to do just straight audio is you can go over to audioship.io and you take your MP3, put a static photo, and put it up on YouTube.
I
In
already
fact,
am going to YouTube with it.
good, because
Yep.
I've started doing that. We did a bunch of, most of the shows I've got in the catalog are just MP3.
Yeah.
But I thought, how am I going to, what am I going to do? How am I going to get those people that are just on YouTube? So that's what I'm doing. I'm uploading. I'm uploaded some today, and they'll just have a static photo, but you get that advantage of being exposed to that audience. So,
And mine goes through my personal YouTube anyway, where I've already got 20,000 subscribers. And so
oh,
it
good,
just kicks up to them like it's another video.
good,
And I'm actually able to monetize it because my channel is monetized. So I'm already making money off the podcast from the YouTube side.
exactly. These other platforms have got to get on the ball and start paying podcasters. YouTube is like the only guy that I know of that does it. Rumble will pay you, I think, a couple pennies. Supposedly TikTok pays people, but I never got paid from TikTok. But I like YouTube. This is awesome. Now, how often are you doing podcast episodes for Indie Rebel Podcast?
I'd started doing them once a week, and I want to get back into that.
Yes.
Things slowed down when I was trying to finish up my movie, and the podcast was just taking up too much of my time. So I put things on
Yes.
hold for about 3 or 4 months and just started getting back into it again.
Okay. Explain something to me. There are a lot of films made, but then I never get to see them on the big screen.
Mhm.
Are there some films that don't go to the big screen, but they go into just distribution channels like streaming, DVD only? Give me an example. Okay, so I keep seeing this YouTube promo for a Hollywood film about the life of Marlon Brando.
Okay.
And they've got the guy who's playing him and looks, just like Marlon in his prime, is, well, his name just escaped me. He was in the Titanic movie. He's made a bunch of movies. It'll come to me in a minute. The Purple
DiCaprio?
Phantom. No, his name is Billy Zane.
Yes.
Billy Zane. So I see this promo, and it's been out there on YouTube for about 9 months.
Wow.
And I'm like, where's the movie? I went over to Apple to buy it. Amazon, I can't find it anywhere. Are some movies made and then there may be an extensive delay before they ever hit the market? Maybe even a year or two? Do they put these in the can for a while
Sometimes, if you see a trailer, typically they'll come out within 9 months of that first teaser trailer. There are exceptions. Top Gun Maverick was one. They had the whole movie done long before COVID hit, and then COVID hit, so they kept delaying.
Oh, really?
The Batman with Robert Pattinson, that was another one that had some delays involved. And then sometimes they'll make a movie and have it almost finished and then just pull it completely and use it as a tax write-off. And that's what happened with Batgirl from Warner Brothers.
Really?
Yeah.
You mean that never saw the light of day?
Nope, they shot the whole thing, had almost the
Wow.
whole thing edited and special effects and music and everything. And they decided, no, we're going to go in a different direction now. And they just totally shelved it.
Dude, I know as an actor, I wouldn't, if I were an actor, I wouldn't feel good about that one. But I hope she got paid.
Oh, she did.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Are there some films, though, that they're made and then they need to get a distribution deal or they'll never take off?
That's most independent films. So guys out there like
Okay.
me that are working, I would say below the $2 million budget range,
Okay.
we're all distribution's the name of the game. And you probably won't see anything like that in theaters unless it gets into a film festival and really just takes off and does really, really well. That's what's happened with some horror films like Paranormal Activity and Saw and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Well, an example is I saw another promo film for one with the guy Bolo Young. He was a martial artist dude, the big muscle-bound dude in Enter the Dragon.
hmm
He still looks good. As an Asian, they don't age that much. So he might be 80 years old, but he still looks good. And Armando Sante and some other well-known Hollywood actors. And special effects look cool, but I couldn't find the movie.
Huh.
And I was just wondering, what happened? Maybe they had a problem getting a distribution deal. And
And that's where most of us turn to self-distribution now. And so you've got Film
okay,
Hub and Indie Rights are your big self-distributors. And
tell me a little
they'll
bit
allow,
about that. How
yeah.
does that work?
So with It depends. Film Hub will anybody can get onto, which is nice. And you upload your film, you upload all the files that they need, and you choose the platforms that you want to try to get on, and they submit it to those platforms. Indie Rights, which is who I went with, they're more selective about who they take. They have to watch your film first and make sure that they're cool with it. And then if you get accepted, they also provide some marketing and training materials, but it's the same thing. They're an aggregator. So they get your film onto Amazon and Tubi and YouTube even and stuff like that for you.
Okay. That's cool. Now, what about if you want to get into some international markets outside of that organization? Are there companies, distributors that you can get your film to, and maybe they might buy it up and then put
There
it on
are.
local theaters?
Uh, it's a little bit tougher to do that. Your best bet is still probably to go through the streamers like Amazon, and you can get it into different markets if you're willing to pay the $200 to get it subtitled in whatever language market you're heading into. So, for
Oh, really?
instance, my movie is not available in Canada because Canada requires French subtitles, and I didn't pay the $200 to get them done in French. I only have English. So my movie
Oh,
is only shown in markets that accept English subtitles.
oh, that's interesting.
Yep.
Well, what about Spanish? Did you do Spanish version?
I didn't know.
Oh my goodness, you got to do that.
But
So,
a
million
lot of
people.
those countries don't have a problem with it. They'll still take it the English version, no problem.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
okay, I see what you're saying. Oh, that's interesting. So they actually wanted it dubbed into that language, or just subtitles?
Subtitles.
Oh, subtitles only. Okay,
Yep.
that's interesting. And I guess if you put some money into it, you could get them dubbed with some
Correct.
voiceover actors. I guess that would be the ultimate way to go.
Or as
Uh,
I saw with the Russian version, they have AI that'll do it for you too.
that's interesting. Do you think this AI is going to change how filmmaking is done? What's your take on what AI may produce?
It's being used, and I even use it for certain things. I don't think it will ever truly replace the artist themselves that's creating stuff
Yes.
because I have learned, like with music apps like the one you shared with me, it's very difficult to have AI keep consistency between different creations. So if
Yes.
I was doing an action film and I've got my actor and I want to use AI to create all the special effects for a sequence involving that actor, it's going to have a really hard time doing that because
Yes.
it's not the actor's not going to match from scene to scene. And using AI
Okay.
to score a movie, same thing. You can't get that consistent sound where it sounds like it's written by the same person throughout the whole thing. Where it is really good is if you need one-off songs. So I used it for like the bar. I created a country
Oh
song
yeah.
for the bar, and all the action music as he's running that sounds like it's 2000s punk. That's all AI because I just needed one-offs for stuff like that.
Yes.
In terms of the visual effects, though, I it's being used in our tool set for things. Nuke, my compositor, has got an AI feature called Copycat, and it's if I want to rotoscope and trace around something, and then I go to the last frame and I trace around it one more time, the AI can interpolate between all the individual frames, not just keyframing, sliding it from one spot to another, but actually saying, "Oh, this is what he wants to keep," and it will adjust the mask accordingly as it moves through the frame. So in that regard, AI is being used a lot. I also see it being used a little bit in story development, but I don't like
Yes.
that because it can't really create anything new itself. It's pulling from other sources and things.
Yeah.
And then where I'm using it right now is actually in app development because I don't know how to code to save my life. And I want this app made. And so I'm using Claude and ChatGPT and just copying and pasting the code it gives me into Xcode, which is the coding program I use. And I don't
Oh,
have to know anything that I'm doing. I just have to copy and paste, and now I've got a working app.
I've got a friend who kept talking about this thing called Claude. He said, "Man, you got to check it out." And I've heard that you can code apps. So how do you actually go from getting the AI software to give you the code to actually, you know, going live? You use something like you said, Xcode?
Xcode, yeah. So I'm on a MacBook Pro or a
Okay.
MacBook Air for all my pre-production. I write and run my business off of this. So I would schedule
Yes.
my movie here too. So Xcode is the Mac version, and it's a coding app using a language called Swift, and
Okay.
that's about all I know about
Oh,
it. Yeah.
so you
So
would
I,
tell AI what you want. It would give you
mhm,
the code, and you'd copy and paste it into Xcode,
yeah, and
basically.
and that's what I did. I said I'm on Mac OS. I need a film shoot scheduling app that's calendar based that lets me drag and drop scenes and move them around and
Yes.
tally up how long I think each scene's going to take me to shoot. So it gave me a basic framework. I copy and paste that into Xcode. I tried to
Okay.
run the app from Xcode and it failed. So I
Oh,
spent about 3 or 4 days replugging the code in trying to get it to correct itself, and ChatGPT couldn't do it. So I did some research, and everyone said Claude is the best one for programming apps. So I
okay.
load the code into Claude. I said, hey, this app won't run. What's going on? Within seconds, it said, oh, here's your problem right here. Correct this. So I
Dude,
copy and paste
seriously?
that back into Xcode, and then it ran. I'm like, okay. And now it's just been adding features. Hey, this looks great. Can I make it where I can edit my scenes and add this kind of detail to it? Sure, just
Yeah.
copy and paste this code here. And it's just been, you become a project manager in that regard. Here's what I need you to do. Hey, that looks great. Now let's refine it like this. And
Oh man.
in the span of a week, I've got a working app that I actually could use now on my next film.
Dude, that is amazing. That is
And I'm
amazing.
using the free versions. I didn't pay for any subscriptions with ChatGPT or Claude. So when I
Okay.
run out of my free prompts for the day, I just come back the next
Yes.
day.
So, when you say scheduling, break that down for me. What does that mean, scheduling?
So you have your script, and your script is broken up into scenes. And typically you're going to shoot one scene at a time on a film. So in the past, there's software I've used called Movie Magic Scheduling, where it has something called a strip board where you're just rearranging your scenes in the order you want to shoot. But it
Yeah.
also has a calendar that I really like. I like that God's eye view of here's my entire shoot day, you're looking at the calendar, and I could drag and drop my scenes to different parts of the calendar, and it adds up
Oh.
how many pages I'm shooting because that's important to know. And it also, you can tell it how long you think it'll take you to shoot each scene, and that gets tallied up at the bottom of the calendar too. And that's nice because you don't want to work more than 12 hours in a day typically.
Sure.
So I've the problem with Movie Magic is now it's subscription based, and I'm not a fan of subscription software. And it's like $120, $300 a year, something like that. I said, well, I wonder if I can code my own one for free that does just what I need it to. And I've been wanting this for a couple of years now, and so I'm finally going off and doing that.
Dude, that's exciting. Well done on that. Um, and I was uncertain if you could actually get, viable programs out of it. I thought maybe they'll give you some advice on how to put together, but what I've just learned from you now is you can actually put in a request, tell them what you want. It can be made. You
Yep.
massaged it, and it's actually working. It's a real world app that you can
Yep.
use. I recently saw the movie Superman.
Oh, the new one.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know when it came out in America, but it's over here in the Bali theaters.
Hmm.
And I'm going to tell you something. I came out of there, and I've been thinking about this for a while. Have been watching movies for 50 years. I'm 55 now, and I think the first movie I ever saw was Benji in the
Oh
theater,
yeah,
the original. I saw some of the seminal movies way back then. I remember seeing Jaws when it came out, and Star Wars in '77.
sure.
I got to see some great movies, but you know, I look back at the movies that used to be made, the stuff's being made today. CGI came on the scene, right? And now you've got AI. And I was thinking the other day, we've gotten to the point with CG and AI that a lot of movies have almost become like adult anime,
A
for
little
lack of
bit,
another
yeah.
word. More fantasy than reality. And some of this stuff is soulless garbage.
Yeah.
Um, it doesn't have to be, but I'm starting to see a trend here. And where are the stuntmen? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, where's the real acting? And I think there's some that may want to go into the direction of what, just having even AI actors. Do you think there's some that want to take humans out of the loop altogether?
There are only because some people just don't like working with people. And if they can make a movie on their own without it, then that's where animation was really popular for a while because you
Yeah.
didn't have to work with actors and stuff. But again, I don't think AI is there yet to make an entire film that way. It still needs guided input way more than what's necessary, but I'm sure it's coming. It wouldn't surprise me. By the way, with the stunts, you should check out The Fall Guy if you haven't seen that one. That's a great movie. That's a total love letter to stunts in Hollywood.
Yeah, man, they used to have, I mean, real stunts back then.
Yeah.
Uh, there was a guy named Dar Robinson, that's his name, king of the stuntmen. He sadly died offset in a motorcycle accident. But this was a dude that Burt Reynolds and many of the celebrities he did stunts for back in the days, the action films, 70s and 80s. I mean, he pioneered stuff. He had records, jumped off some of the tallest buildings in the world and
Cool.
had to develop some type of rope cable system that would stop him or he would be dead.
Right.
And and then I remember Jackie Chan. He had the reputation. He does his own stunts in his films.
Yeah.
And I went out to see one time called Rumble in the Bronx when it finally came to America about 25 years ago, and because I wanted to see him do his own stunts.
Hmm.
But I mean, he's got some movies that he's done. His stunts are just otherworldly, man.
He's
But I'm
broken almost
wondering,
every bone in his body.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. But today, I'm wondering, man. Like I watched that Superman movie, and most of the stuff was just CGI,
Yeah.
animation, for another word. What do you call that? I mean, it's not a cartoon,
Hmm.
but what would you call
I mean, because
what's
the film is intended to be live action, I would still call it live action. But
CGI?
that's why we still have the term CGI, computer generated imagery. You
Okay,
know?
so I just so it's computer generated live action.
Yeah.
A lot of the parts were. Now, did you see the new Jurassic Park movie?
I did.
You know what? I actually liked that. Some people didn't like it, but I thought it was a little bit scary. What do you think about it?
I liked that it was trying to be scary again. I liked they were trying to take it in a fresh and new direction.
Yeah.
What I did, and the director is one of my favorite directors because he started life as a visual effects artist and got into Hollywood through that.
Okay.
But what I didn't like is that there was no big payoff at the end. There was no dino fight, and that's part of why I go to see these movies. Is I want to see the dino fights, and he wanted to
Good
have
point.
one, and the studio said, "No, we're not going to do that again because we've
Really?
done that in six other movies." Yeah, and so it was the
Oh,
studio's fault that it didn't happen. And that was the one thing I felt like was missing. Like I wanted to see just, "Rah."
well, okay, that's good information. Actually liked it. Some didn't, but I thought it was good.
Yeah.
Um,
Overall, it was okay. Yeah, it was fun.
Now, what's your take on Quentin Tarantino? I'm hearing he may want to retire. What have you heard on him?
I don't follow him too closely. I liked and watched some of his earlier work back in the day. I've seen
Yeah.
Reservoir Dogs, Kill Bill 1 and 2, Jackie Brown, but that's really all I've followed with him for the most part.
There's story. There's a story circulating that he may have made his last film, or might be making one more. I don't know. Have you heard anything on Robert Rodriguez lately? What's he doing these days?
Let's see. He just launched a new platform for funding films, and
Really?
it's called Brass Knuckle Films. Is the name of the that they created for it, and just launched it. The idea is it's kind of crowdfunding, and it's designed to let you be an investor in the film. So you're not just supporting it for a T-shirt or a copy of the film.
Yeah.
You get to have some skin in the game through your investment and can make royalties off of it when the movies come out. And so he's got a
Dude.
deal with well, he went to all the streamers because he's worked with Netflix and did a couple of kids shows for them. And he said, "Hey, what do you guys want right now? What kind of movies do you need? I'll go make it. Give me the budget and I'll make it happen." And they're like, "We really need action films right now." And so he's working on some low budget action films, stuff that he could turn around super cheap, 200 grand kind of a thing each for each movie, which is low budget. And
Dude.
then crowdfunding it through fans, and the fans will get royalties kicked back from that as it goes on.
Did I hear you right? He wants to make a film for 200 grand?
I believe it's the 2 to 250 is kind of what the range he's looking for.
That's
I could be
amazing. I
wrong
didn't
on
even.
that. I could be wrong. It might be a few million, but still, it's going to be very low budget.
Wow. Can you still make a film for that amount?
Oh yeah,
As long as you don't need a lot of CGI?
yeah. Keep the effects down. Um, Learn if you're the director, make sure you're operating camera. That saves a lot of time and money. Make
Okay.
sure that either you're the editor or at least whoever's on set knows about editing because so much of the movie is built in the edit. That's the most important part. And so you want to make sure you're giving them good stuff they can work with where they don't need the CGI.
Dude, that's cool. I think it's the CGI that makes them so expensive, probably, huh?
A lot of it. And actors,
Yeah.
name actors.
And the big name actors. Um, that's amazing. Do you remember when the film came out called Waterworld? Kevin Costner.
Oh, I loved that movie. Yeah.
It was a great movie. I heard though that was like that broke new barriers in terms of how much production budget was. I think they went over budget so many times. You got any idea what it cost them to make that movie
It was just
at
over
that time?
200 million, and it was the most expensive movie ever made at the time when that came out.
Right, and that's been what over 20 years ago, I think, hasn't it?
Yeah, that was in the mid 90s.
Yeah,
So
man,
probably
longer
30
than that.
years. Yeah.
30 years. I just remember. It's like all of a sudden actors' salaries went through the roof. Everybody wanted $20 million, and then these film budgets just shot over $100 million. I was like, oh my goodness, so much for being an indie filmmaker.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily the case, right? Because then Robert Rodriguez came along with what El Mariachi,
hmm
and I heard he produced that real cheap, didn't he?
7 grand. Yeah.
7 grand. That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And he used himself as like a human guinea pig
Yeah. He
to
raised
raise some money.
$3,000 testing what ended up becoming Lipitor at a research hospital in
Whoa,
Texas. Yeah.
dude, talk about some skin in the game.
Yeah.
Dude, he had some blood in the game too. That's amazing. That got me excited because I heard that story, and I even went out and bought his book. I've never read it, but he put a book out. You
Yep.
got a copy of that in your library?
I do. It's called Rebel Without a Crew.
Yeah.
And
It
it
was a good
says
read?
how a 23-year-old filmmaker with $7,000 became a Hollywood player. Now, the other thing he did, speaking of Rebel Without a Crew, he did 2 television series called Rebel Without a Crew. And the first one was called Rebel Without a Crew, the series, where he took 5 aspiring filmmakers, gave them $7,000, and then had a camera crew follow them around while they produced their first movie. So that's a very interesting one to watch. And
Oh,
then he said, I had so much fun watching them, I wanted to do it too. So he gave himself a $7,000 budget and set out to make a movie. And it's actually based on his time at that research hospital testing drugs. And it kind of turns into a thriller. But then he had a camera crew follow him, and it's called Rebel Without a Crew, the Robert Rodriguez Film School. And you can rent that on Amazon and YouTube.
wow.
And highly recommend that if you're interested in low budget filmmaking.
That's amazing. Did you ever see the films of a guy before him in the 70s? It was Billy Jack, Tom Laughlin. You've never seen the Billy Jack?
Uh-uh.
Dude, oh my goodness, I got a treat for you. Okay, he was one of the original rebel filmmakers.
Okay.
Tom Laughlin. He made his entry into Hollywood back in the 50s. He was on, I forget the names right now, but some very famous Hollywood films back in the day. And then he comes out with this martial arts flick with a Korean Hapkido expert named Bong Song Hong or something like. Don't quote me on that. I think I screwed that one up. But he was a Hapkido dude.
Okay.
And it's about a half Native American who was trained in Vietnam in martial arts, and he comes back from Nam and comes back to the reservation, and there's a lot of racism going on against the Indians, and he becomes a defender for them. But the girl that he's in love with, who runs a school, doesn't like violence. So the movie's a battle about him trying to restrain himself and not use his Hapkido skills. But there's some people and there's some real bad dudes. It's sort of like a Walking Tall. You remember Walking Tall?
Mm-hmm.
Except instead of a Sheriff Buford Puster carrying a big stick, you've got this ex-Vietnam Green Beret, half Indian, and he's a Hapkido expert, and eventually he just tears loose.
Nice.
What was amazing about this film is he funded it himself.
Okay.
And he couldn't get a big Hollywood studio initially to promote it, so he four-walled it. That's where I first heard that term. What
Mm-hmm.
does four-walling mean?
Four-walling is usually a distribution term, and it means renting the theater yourself and then selling tickets.
Okay, so he did that for Billy Jack, and he began to four-wall it, and then it went underground, bro. I mean, it went like it became like a cult film,
Hmm.
and he would come out and make 2 more in the series. I'm not going to tell you what happens at the end of the movie because the second one is based on that. I don't want to spoil it.
Okay.
And the third one, he actually goes to Washington. It's called Billy Jack Goes to Washington. There may have been actually 4 of those. You got to see Billy Jack because
Okay.
It came out in the 70s, and I got to see it on TV. And I got so excited, watching it. Me and my brother would try to do karate on each other. I just remember ran and did this flying sidekick and hit my dad in the throat, almost broke his neck. He was like, "Oh
Oops.
my God!"
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Dad. I was only like 8 years old. Um, but Billy Jack, man, that was an exciting story. And he was going to make a fifth film, and he died of cancer. But he was one of the original indie filmmakers. And then, of course, there's been other great stories. Easy Rider was made by
Yeah, I think that was fairly low budget.
low budget, and that was self-financed by Peter Fonda
Hmm.
himself. And he said, I'm gonna make this movie, and I've sunk everything into it. I hope I get paid off of it. Hey,
Great.
by the way, have you ever seen an indie film? It was also done by Peter Fonda. It's a cult classic called Idaho Transfer.
Mm-mm.
Brother, listen, I'm giving you some stuff. This is gold. This is gonna probably fuel your next project. You're gonna love this. Listen, this is right up your alley. Watch those two, Billy Jack, 1974, and then get the Idaho Transfer. You
Okay.
can find that one on YouTube. And it's an indie film, basically some college students, brainiacs, they're working at this university where they're working on time travel. And
Okay.
they actually get a breakthrough and they're able to go back in time. They're able to go into the future. And the whole film is shot in Idaho on location. And it's an amazing sci-fi indie film
Cool.
by Peter Fonda. It's a sleeper film. You got to watch that one out there. Um, I just love movies. Again, my dad taught me two things: a love for guns, and when I was 5 years old, he gave me a Daisy BB rifle. I shot the neighbor's window out, shot my brother in the fanny, and my grandmother confiscated the gun and put it up on a light fixture, melted the stock.
Hmm.
I was reckless with that gun, but I used to have a big Tupperware container of BBs, and I'd just go out. I wouldn't give my own 6-year-old a gun. But back then, it was just everybody had one,
Yeah.
and a bicycle. And then the love of movies. That's all my dad and I did together. We just watched movies.
Cool.
And I got to see some cool movies with him. Uh, I would always be gone, and then I would come in town maybe and visit him, and he would take me to the movies, and we saw Saving Private Ryan together, which was a cool movie. I remember him taking me out to see Midnight Express, about that dude that got arrested in Turkey,
Yep.
and that was a rated R movie back in the 70s. But I got into that and got to see it. I love movies. Some of my greatest memories spending with my father was watching movies. Now, what do your parents think about your filmmaking? Are they a
They
fan?
they they prefer I'm doing these movies now instead of the horror stuff I used to do.
Oh,
Because they were never a fan of that. And I will say though, my beliefs are different than my parents. When I was in my early
okay,
20s, I kind of went this way while they went this way with beliefs. And
okay.
so they don't believe the messages that I've got in the films. But this last one in particular, my mom came to the premiere and she came down afterwards with just tears in her eyes saying that was amazing. And
Wow.
it moved her and made her think about things. And this is the first movie I've done where it actually stirred them in that way, which is good.
Now, you said you made some horror films, so do you know how to make fake blood?
I do. I make my own
Can you give us any ingredients? How do you make it?
corn syrup and red food coloring, maybe one drop of blue to darken it, and then you use water to get the viscosity that you want. The only thing I don't like about the corn syrup method is while it's cheap to make, it if you try to smear it on an actor, it doesn't spread right.
Oh,
Real blood, if you have a bloody nose and you do this, you get a streak. And this
yeah.
kind of like compartmentalizes and segments, breaks apart. So it's great when you need just gallons and gallons of blood just going through the scene. But if I need to do any makeup with blood, I buy stage blood for that.
Now, I heard you can buy stage blood. Is it expensive, though? I heard it's really cost a lot of
About
money.
$10 for a quart.
Oh, well, it's not too bad, I guess.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to have you know, a slasher movie, you're going to need a bunch of.
Right.
Hey, speaking of which, when you use guns on set,
Mhm.
are there special rules for that? Do you use toy guns, real guns with blanks? What do you typically use?
I've done toy guns in the past or airsoft guns, which I don't consider toys. I did that in the last Leap movie, Leap 2.
Okay.
And blowback airsoft is awesome because you pull the trigger and the slide kicks back each time. And then you
Oh,
digitally add the effect of the flash. With
okay.
this movie, with the gunshot, because there's a gunshot in the film, I'm not going to spoil who's shooting and how that all works, but we
Yeah,
had a real shotgun and I locked the camera off, stationary. Everyone went way back 20 feet behind the guy with the shotgun. So he
yeah.
shoots, and then he goes away. Then I take the actor that's getting shot, and I had him stand where he was supposed to be. Another guy pops him in the chest and sends him backwards behind a tree onto a crash pad. And then digitally, you stitch the two shots together. So you see in one shot, real gun going off, guy go flying backwards. And I added a little
Wow,
blood spray coming out too.
that is amazing. So that's something you have to take into consideration. So many facets to making a movie.
Yeah.
If you didn't love this, you wouldn't have gotten this far.
No,
Um,
it's a nightmare a lot of the time. If you don't enjoy it, then don't do it.
Absolutely. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Where would you like to be?
I would like to have at least three more movies out on Amazon. I have no desire to work in the Hollywood system, but I would like to be doing bigger budget things, self-financed myself. So I would like each movie to make more of a budget, more back that I can live on and support my wife and myself, and also be able
Yes.
to finance bigger movies.
What are there any other genres that you want to get into? You mentioned you're going to do an occult thriller and you want to do a martial arts film. Any other stuff that you'd like to do?
I've got a few sci-fi ideas that have been rattling around in my brain since I've been like 10 years old. That could be kind of fun to do.
Oh,
But right now, I definitely want to start with the action or thriller first. That's just easier to do. And I miss doing action. I love action films.
well, let me give you a tip. If you're going to do a sci-fi movie, you probably want to do something on Bigfoot.
I actually have a script called Cryptid
Dude,
about that.
the,
Yeah.
oh, I love that. Listen, there's so many Bigfoot enthusiasts.
Yeah.
You've already got a built-in audience right there that would come out and watch it.
And I have a friend that's 6'5". So
Dude,
he'd be perfect.
okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
I've been thinking about that one since 2008. I've had a script since 2008 for that movie.
dude, you got to escalate that one. That would be
Yeah.
popular movie. Um, what I was going oh, actors. What's it like finding an actor for your film? Now you can go with total unknowns,
Mhm.
and that's not a bad way to go. But let's say you want to get some star power in there. Um, have you looked into that? Maybe getting some B film dudes,
Once,
guys.
about 15 years ago, when I was getting ready to do Leap 2, I thought it would be really cool to get David Bell, who was the founder of Parkour and starred in District 13, and have him come play a bad guy for a day in my film.
Oh, I
And
didn't know that.
I wasn't able to reach out because he's from France and I couldn't find his agent's contact info. But what you would do is jump onto IMDb, get a pro account, and that gives you access to the agents of the actors. So you look up the actor you want, you get their agent contact info, and that's how you can start the negotiations.
Oh, okay. I've heard. I used to ask Mel Novak, who was a friend of
Hmm.
mine. He was in many films. He was most notable for the last Bruce Lee film made called Game of Death. He played Stick the Assassin.
Hmm.
He was in a lot of 70s and 80s movies. Three of Chuck Norris's movies. He was in The Warrior with Yul Brynner, one of Steve McQueen's last films. And sadly, he went home to be with the Lord this year. He was a great man of God. But he was still making films up until just a few years ago. And um, asked the question. Let's say you want to get a guy like Gary Busey. You know,
Hmm.
at one time he was big, especially in Lethal Weapon.
Yeah,
But now he doesn't command as much salary, as he used to.
right.
I've heard rumors that you can get some of these guys and gals for like $10,000 a day.
Yeah.
You think that's
I think it's
possible?
doable. What you have to do is you have to figure out how you can shoot them in a day or two or three. Robert Rodriguez is notorious. If you were to watch Sin City or Planet Terror, he's got like Bruce Willis and all these other big name stars in these movies. And that's how he does it. He brings them on for 1, 2 days tops, shoots their stuff
Yes.
and sends them away. Even if they're in a scene with another actor who won't be on set for another 6 months, he'll shoot their half of the scene on a green screen and then bring the other actor in and then shoot their half the scene and cut it together.
That's not a bad way to get a little bit of propulsion for a film.
Yeah.
Get some B actors on there, and do you have to have an? How does let's see, what is the union out there in
SAG.
Hollywood called SAG? That's it. I couldn't think of the name. Do you have to give any consideration to SAG, or is that only if you want to make a SAG film?
That's only if you're going to make a SAG film. So if you want a SAG actor, I believe you have to be then a SAG production all the way through,
Oh,
and also be IATSE as well, which is the crew member union.
oh, really?
And so if you want to do a non-union project, there are certain exemptions and hoops you can jump through to make it happen, but generally that's not what they want you to do.
Now, what if you use an animal in a film? Do you got to get that animal society to come out and supervise?
It's preferred. There was a movie that came out. It was actually shot here in Montana back in the 70s where real animals were being killed for the film.
Oh,
And that's how that all started with the animal rights and stuff and
really?
making sure that you could honestly put at the end of the film no animals were harmed in the making of the film. So there should be somebody on set to handle that and supervise if you're going to go that route. So if you've ever
Okay.
seen a river runs through it, no fish were actually harmed in the making of that film. They were all either animatronics or real fish that had the line looped through their mouth and gill, not actually being on a hook. And so
Well,
that way
you,
the fish was fine.
you mean they really care about a fish?
Yeah.
My goodness, I didn't know that. That's pretty anal.
Yep.
Uh, there was a series back in the 70s dealing with the issue of the Rapture Mark of the Beast system, and it was called, I had to look it up, A Thief in the
Thief in the
Night,
night. Yeah.
A Distant Thunder.
Hmm.
There was a Christian filmmaker back then. He was an indie filmmaker, if you will.
Yeah.
I think his name was Russell Doughton Jr. You ever come across that name?
I don't know that name, but I know the film series you're talking about. I've seen
Yeah.
all those.
So this was the late 60s, early 70s, I guess,
Hmm.
70s. Russell Doughton, and he got his start working on The Blob with Steve McQueen.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's cool.
and that got him on the map. And then he went off to make his series on you know that were preceded later the Left Behind series that became
Right.
so big. But those things age well. I went back and watched them not long ago. You can find some of them on YouTube or Netflix, and I think YouTube actually, and they're really good movies. A Distant Thunder, the series, 1978, but I know he did some early ones in that. But
Yeah. Thief in the
I,
Night was the first one.
yeah, The Thief in the Night, that's right. I love these films. I love what you did. Again, put the, if you could, the DVD back up on the screen, show people that are just joining us. Leap, A Tale of the Last Days, folks.
Bam.
The new film from Pyro Studios, Christopher Temple, has just finished this film. Now, you can get it in DVD and Blu-ray as a collector, I think. Do you still have the ability to order those?
Legally, I can't now because I've signed with my
Oh,
distributor, and so they control the
oh.
rights. After the first couple quarters come in, I'm going to see if I can get the rights back to be able to self-produce these.
Well, I'm glad I got my copy.
Right
I
now.
ordered it. But now you can go and see the film tonight, today.
Yeah.
Amazon
Yep.
streaming. Folks, watch the film, and then when you see it, go back and watch his first two films because I love all three of them. I
And
told
leave
my
me a
mom,
review if you watch it. Go on to Amazon, leave a review. IMDb, leave a review. Getting a lot of hate from the atheists right now, and we've got
oh,
a lot of 1 stars coming in from all of them who've just now watched it since the GAM podcast. So the more people that like it that can leave me reviews, that would definitely help out.
a couple more questions if you have the time, and I
Sure.
want to thank you going this far with me. We're live with Christopher Temple. Christopher Temple. Do you still use the acronym El Director?
Not as much anymore. I wanted to
Okay.
be known professionally for who I am and the stuff I do. And I mean, that was fun in my 20s and 30s, but I'm like, I'm 40 years old now. I should probably start using my real name.
Well, dude, I've been Omega Man for 15 years,
True.
and I'm starting to put him on the back burner
Are you
and
really?
use my name. Yeah, so we were Mega Man Radio, and we still are for the podcast, but I thought, yeah, I think I'm going to do a new rebranding, Shannon Davis Show here on YouTube.
There you go.
Um, and But you can still get all the audio versions under Mega Man Radio. We'll keep it till
Sure.
forever, but yeah, I wanted to know if I should use that name, El Director. I love it actually. That's good. And that has kind of a Spanish connotation. Tu hablo español?
Uh, Pequeño. That actually, the name came from El Mariachi, which was Robert's
Okay.
$7,000 movie. So
Okay.
it was the guitar player. I'm like, well, I'm the director, El Director, and that's how it was born.
So he was really probably a great influence for you.
Oh, huge. He showed me that it could be done outside the system for very little money.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Now I know it depends on if you want star power, locations, whether you want CGI and all that stuff. But if I were to come to you and say, Chris, I've got a script, and it's not so heavy on location, but what do you think I might need as a budget?
How many actors?
Um, 5 actors, let's say.
How about special effects? You got a lot of stuff with that involved?
No, not much special effects. It's more just script,
I
dialogue.
think that, yeah, if it's dialogue heavy, easily just a few $1,000s. If you can get your actors willing to work for
Wow.
a very low stipend, like you pay them
Yes.
500 bucks for the 2 week shoot or something like that.
Hmm.
The other option would be points. Give them some points, which is what I had to do on this last movie. I paid them a small stipend and gave them points as well,
Oh,
and so that works out pretty well. What you do with points is you take your 100% profit, you cut it in half, and then add one. So you keep 51%, and then you've got 49% that you're willing to give away. And so you say, hey, if you're going to be the lead in my movie, I'll give you 20 points or something like that. Or you can have 10 points. And you just got to keep up with the accounting. So if the film makes money, they're getting 20%, 15% of whatever the film brings in.
dude, that's amazing. Wow, that's pretty cool. Um, I don't remember the name of the movie, but there was some film I actually saw one day, and it was just about this dude. He's driving down the road in a car, and he's under some kind of time constraints, and everything is just shot him in the driver's seat for the
Hmm.
most part, and he's got a series of people that are calling him, and he's got to jump through some hoops to save his daughter's life or something like that. And I'm like, man, this whole film was him sitting in a car. It
Yeah.
couldn't have cost that much.
Nope.
Um, and it was pretty good, but the script was good. So this is really interesting to me, and again, that's on my bucket list. I'm going to do a film.
You should.
I'm going to get my war chest together, then I'm coming to you to direct it. So, Chris, um, in between films, how do you make a living as a director? Do you do video editing for people? Do you have any services that you offer you want to mention?
Yeah, so Pyro Studios started as just a regular production company to pay bills. And so we do commercials, adverts, stuff like
Oh,
that. I'm a full service studio. I've got a green screen studio set up in the garage where I can bring actors, or not actors, but clients over. And I do like a weekly video podcast for a financial advisor. I worked for a guy in Chicago doing some editing for him. I've got guys in Seattle that I'm doing stuff for as well. They'll shoot content, send it to me to edit, and
amazing.
that's how I pay the bills.
Okay, so you're a full service studio. If someone has need of these services, how do they contact you? What's the best way to reach you?
Thepyrostudios.com, and there's a contact form on my website.
Okay, so your website, thepyrostudios.com. I want to get that up on the main screen here. Okay, have you ever edited any infomercials or any religious programs?
No, I haven't done anything like that.
So back in the day of infomercials, 28, 30, selling some type of product, how to make money from a home-based business, real estate, the Carlton
Right.
Sheets dudes. Um, I grew up with a lot of that, and I used to buy time for those guys. I used to be a media buyer, working for
Okay.
my brother, and was even involved in a couple infomercials,
Hmm.
uh, which are kind of fun to see how it works behind the scenes. But that's where I gained a little bit of familiarity with the editing that's going on back there. Not that I knew how to do it, but just the raw need for editors.
Yeah.
What you're doing is a pretty cool skill you picked up, and then you went beyond just editing. You can do special effects now with the Nuke program. Is it called Nuke?
Nuke, and then also the Fusion page in Resolve. I use that a lot too.
Do I have the correct website up there, thepyrostudios.com?
Yes.
Okay, that's where I want you all to go. Also, go to Christopher's YouTube channel. What is the name of the YouTube channel?
It's just search up Chris Temple, youtube.com/Chris Temple,
Okay,
and it'll be a green me on a green screen with shorter hair. That's when you know you
and
found the right
you're
one.
doing the podcast as well. Where do they go? Just
Apple Podcasts or Spotify or even on YouTube. It's called Indie Rebel, Indie.
Indie Rebel Podcast. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, so you want to follow that, get his movie, and well, this is all pretty awesome. I want to just say it's an honor to be here with you, bro, and be able to ask you some of these questions. Not like I know too many directors, or you can even get to them, and producers, but I've always had some of these ideas in my brain. Let me ask you one more question.
Sure.
So we're in a world of streaming, but do you think that Blu-ray and DVD is gone, or it might make a comeback? I hear records are coming back, and
I
here's what I guess is let me formulate the statement like this.
Sure.
I don't like subscriptions either.
No.
I don't like this streaming content where that's all that I can have. Whether it be I bought a book on Amazon Kindle, because they could take it away.
Yep.
They could delete it from their library one day. I want physical hard copies too. Streaming's convenient, but I think there's a lot of us that want that too. So, how do you see all this? Are they, Klaus Schwab says you'll own nothing and be happy. Do you think that plays a part in this grab for all the physical content?
I think it was a matter of convenience more than anything.
Okay.
What's funny? Do you know Hollywood Video from back in the day? It was kind of like
Yeah.
Blockbuster.
Oh, yeah.
I used to work
Yes.
at one of those stores. I did that for about
Okay.
6 months, and
Okay.
this is about 2004. I predicted there would come a time where people would bring in basically disposable hard drives where they could come in and download a movie from their kiosk in store, and then after 3 days, then the code would delete it, and you could come back and rent another one that way. Because
Yeah.
at the time, I couldn't foresee internet being as fast as it is today to handle the bandwidth of streaming. Um, so I think there's a lot of convenience, and people have jumped on that. But I'm old school. I've got 40 gigs of music on my laptop that syncs over to my phone of just MP3 files and stuff. I like
Yes.
having physical copies of my media, and I do
Me
think it's
too.
making a comeback because now you've got so many streamers. It was fine when there was just Netflix and Hulu. You could subscribe to the two and watch almost anything that's out there. But now you've got Paramount and HBO and all these other ones. And so the content becomes more and more diversified throughout the different streamers. And now you're paying just as much as you were for cable back in the day, just if you want to be able to watch everything. And then,
Yes.
like you mentioned, the streamers can pull stuff down. I've heard people buying a movie on Amazon and having it yanked away so they can't watch it anymore after they
Right.
paid for it.
Right.
And I think because of that, the piracy is actually making a comeback, as is having physical media as well. I've watched a couple videos about that recently.
Dude, there was a lot of piracy when I lived down in Costa Rica.
Oh, I
Literally, I
bet.
could walk out of my apartment I was renting there in Ciudad Colon, and there's a little mall, and they
Mm-hmm.
had a video store there, and you'd go in there, and they had their bookshelves with the DVDs, and they're all the current movies. I'm like, where are you getting these? Some very low resolution printing on the DVD, and
Yeah.
they were downloading them and then burning their own copies. You see, and then renting them.
Yep.
And so very common overseas, but I still like physical media, and you might want to invest in a Blu-ray burner. There is
Oh,
a machine called the Cube, and it's a robot. You put in the master, and it has 3 burners on there, or you can get 5, and then it will load them in off of a spindle, burn
hmm.
them, and then eject them on the spindle. And you
Yep.
just load once, and it will burn all your Blu-rays or your DVDs or CDs, and then you get a Primera color printer. They're about $1,200, and using some Windows software, you can design your own, what do you call it? The cover
The disc art, yeah, like
for the
that.
disc. Yep, and it'll print right on there, professional quality.
Yeah.
So a short story. I have a friend, Paul Allen, who's a son of the late evangelist A.A. Allen.
Okay.
A couple years ago, he said, I've got in my hand 50 or 60 VHS tapes. It's the best quality in existence right now of my dad's TV studio called a TV show called Miracles Today. And I said, "You got that? I want to buy a copy." He said, "I'll let you know." I got back with him a few months later and I said, "Well, did you ever get those things replicated?" He said, "I had 2 studios and they both fell through on me, so I haven't made any tracks with it." I said, "You haven't? Send them to me." Dude, he sent them to me. This is a few years ago. Now I'm looking at this VHS tape and I got to figure out, he wants to make a DVD and he wants the whole package. The artwork on it, the insert, and he had a sample of some stuff he had done. I went nuts. I even left the show for 2 months. And from here, I was able to get a little crew, namely my brother and a brother-in-law and a couple other people hired. And we had to digitize that VHS tape.
Yep.
Then we had to cut it and put an intro and an outro on. Now, I know nothing about this stuff, okay, but it was a learning curve. And I'm sure it could be done better. But I had a very limited budget. It was what's in my pocket.
Yeah.
My deal was, I'll help you. I just want a copy. That was the deal. So we actually started on it and got a couple dozen titles done. And ended up getting that cube that I was telling you about. And we would burn DVDs, and then I would end up buying the Amore cases, and I got the Primera color printers, and we'd print on there. And you know what? I have to say, for some programs that were digitized off of a VHS, and imagine a VHS. If someone gave you a VHS today and said, "I want you to take this and turn it into a DVD," what would you do?
Probably the same thing you did with a few tweaks. So I would digitize it first.
How would you digitize it?
I've got a VCR and a breakout cable I got on Amazon for $20.
Okay.
That goes from the video, audio outputs, the yellow, the red, the white, converts it to USB. That goes into the computer. So now I got it digitized. Now I'll have to build up the menu, which is really hard to do today. You can't buy the software anymore. It doesn't exist. So you have to find it through questionable means, possibly, because it's the only way you're going to get it. I use DVD Architect. I've been using that for 20 years. And then once you get all that mastered up and you get your first disc made, at that point, I would upload that file to a website called Kuniki, and that's who I used for this. They are print on demand.
Okay.
So they will handle the printing, the burning, the artwork that I send them, everything. And I just order discs as I need them. They cost about $5 a piece.
Dude, I had what's called an Ion VHS to PC. You can still buy them on eBay, but they work best with old computers like Windows XP and Windows 7.
Sure.
I had to go buy an old computer. It wouldn't work on the new ones. And you put that in there, it digitizes them. Real low grade though. It's like 360p.
Which is what VHS is.
Which is, right?
Yep.
And then I wasn't sure. There was options for interlaced or non-interlaced, and I think we got a pretty good copy. And then I had to put them into some software, as you mentioned, that would do the menu, burn those things, rip them, send it from Indonesia back to America, de-rip them, burn them. I mean, it almost drove me nuts.
Yeah.
And I wasn't there to do it, or I would have done it myself. And I maxed out some credit cards, I'm going to tell you. I bought so much equipment, it was crazy. Went nuts. People thought I lost my mind. Maybe I did, but I don't know. I'm still trying to rationalize what I did. I just think that stuff was so precious that I wanted to see it saved. Yeah. But I like this whole process, and I think it's a lot of fun because you're creating something. And don't you get a lot of satisfaction in the work that you're doing?
Yeah, and I think God gives us that. I mean, He created us. He is a creator. He is the creator. And so I think to be able to create something on your own, you get a little taste of what that was like for Him.
Yes. I want to thank you for coming on today. And boy, we spent an hour and a half together. I'll be merciful to you. We could have went 6 hours. The longest I ever went was 7.
Wow.
And I don't think I peed one time. I held it. Folks, go get Chris's movie. Leap We'll put a link there. Check out his podcast. Subscribe to that. Um, if you want to learn more about indie filmmaking, get on his YouTube channel. And look forward to having you back on soon. And hey, by the way, tell Sister Temple, Miss Temple, she's welcome to come on the program and
Okay.
and share some stories. Love to have her on the program with you.
Will do. I'll let her know.
My friend, have a great day over there. God bless you.
All right, God bless. Thanks, Shannon.
Folks, this is going to be available immediately. I want you to share this with a friend. Thank you again, Chris, for coming on.
But I'm just getting started.